Michael Myers, Ghostface, knife, Suburb Street, closet door, phone, blood trail, pumpkin. Michael Myers. The claim is simple. If you remove speeches, jokes, and panic, the shape still walks. The clearest anchor is Halloween 1978, where a blank mask and patient strides carry him from daylight to night without a single need to talk. The stakes are pressure over time, because his talent is not speed but certainty, and certainty turns small houses into small cages. Michael Myers. The craft is environment denial. He watches a routine until it becomes a map, cuts power, removes options, and arrives when the room falls quiet. The strongest pushback says he is slow and easy to outrun. The counter is frame honest. He does not need to outrun anyone if the victim runs into a locked door or a dead hall, and he plans for that. Impact. He is the test of basic home skills under fear, and most people fail those skills when the lights die. Ghostface. Ghostface is the exact opposite engine. He wins with noise and a persona that floats between callers. The hook is Scream 1996, where the voice plays trivia while the blade measures distance at a running pace. The stakes are social and lethal, because he needs you to answer the phone and tell him where to find you, and most people do. Ghostface. The craft is team play, costume replacement, and speed on stairs. He trips, he scrambles, he falls, but he keeps coming because the point is not elegance. The point is contact. A common pushback says Ghostface is weaker because he bleeds and gets knocked down. The clean response is that he is many somebodies over the years, which lets the role survive mistakes. Impact. He weaponizes the habit of answering, trusting, and narrating your location out loud. Knife. The knife matters because it is quiet, fast to draw, and easy to hide against a sweater or a robe. Michael favors a butcher's knife that matches his kitchen raids in Haddonfield, and the blade feels like a theft from the home itself. Ghostface works a slimmer hunting knife that can slip between ribs while a phone distraction keeps the head turned. Knife. The performance stakes ride on space. In tight hallways, a long blade can catch on corners, but in open kitchens, it buys reach that beats fists. Pushback says guns would end the comparison. The counter is canon, clean. Both killers thrive where guns are rare or late to arrive, and the knife is the tool the victims are least prepared to read. Verdict for tools. The blade is the most portable form of pressure you can bring to a front porch. Suburb Street. The street decides pacing. In Halloween, tree-lined blocks and identical houses let Michael vanish by standing still, and the audience learns what it feels like to be watched from a hedge. In Scream, cul-de-sacs and party houses turn into obstacle courses with multiple exits and cars, which rewards sprinting and team calls. Suburb Street. The pressure is visibility versus noise. Michael thrives when a whole block is pretending it is quiet. Ghostface thrives when a whole block is already loud. A pushback says a crowded street saves the target. The counter is bitter. Crowds create confusion, not safety, and either hunter can cut a path as long as the victim has to pick a door. Impact. The street is not neutral. It is a scoreboard, and it favors whoever set the tone first. Closet door. Closets are the lie people tell themselves when the brain wants a small space. In Halloween, the slatted louver door turns into a breathing meter, and light bulb either side becomes a weapon or a trap. In Scream, closets hide both the hunted and the hunter, and a costume lets the predator step out of any door like a reset. Closet door. The mechanic is silhouette. If the door is thin, Michael turns it into splinters with a single, cruel push. If the closet is deep, Ghostface hides in it and swaps places with fear. Pushback says closets bought time for escapes too. True, but time bought with panic is debt that arrives with interest. Impact. Closets teach the wrong lesson. Compressing into yourself rarely beats a person who already owns the room. Phone. The phone is Ghostface's favorite limb, the cleanest example of a tool that talks people into the kill zone. Caller ID delays help, but curiosity and politeness wreck delay the second a voice asks a sharp question. The second anchor is the sound of a television in the background, which the caller uses as texture to sound normal. Phone. Michael's approach to phones is different. He kills them by killing power, and turns their silence into a clock. Some argue that modern smartphones would end both approaches. The counter is grim. A modern phone is a GPS dart you carry for an hour while arguing in a hallway, and that hallway is where people die. Impact. The phone either gives location to the hunter or kills the lights that could save you. Blood trail. Blood tells stories in both series, and the hunter who reads faster wins cleaner. Michael reads slowly but relentlessly, following stains as if they were breadcrumbs in a house he already knows. Ghostface uses blood on carpets and doors as theater to increase panic, which makes victims run to the next predictable refuge. Blood trail. The mechanics are forensic. A smear on a banister says someone grabbed while falling, which hints at the direction of escape. Drops that form a line say walking, drops that form a splash say running, and a streak on a low wall says crawling. Pushback says panic ignores evidence anyway. The answer is that the killer is not panicking. Impact. Blood becomes a map for the only person in the scene who reads maps under pressure. Pumpkin. The pumpkin is not a toy. It is the calendar stamped in orange, and it tells you two truths. 1. The town expects costumes. 2. The night will be full of masks. In Halloween, the pumpkin is the opening image that says the ritual wants to happen again. In Scream, parties give every hunter a crowd to hide inside. Pumpkin. The mechanic is permission. A mask in July is a threat. A mask on Halloween is culture, and culture opens doors. Some argue that safety in numbers should cancel that. The counter is that numbers only help if they behave like a team, not like a celebration. Impact. The pumpkin is the loudest. Yes, the night gives to a hunter, and the smart one takes it. A babysitter at a kitchen counter cuts a slice of pie while the kids argue about a movie in the next room. She checks a back door twice and forgets a side window once, because the window is behind a curtain and the curtain always hangs that way. Outside, footsteps that never hurry still arrive on time. A college student in a borrowed house holds a cordless phone and laughs too loudly at the joke on the other end. She walks from window to window, looking out, while her own reflection stares back. She forgets the back hallway has 2 closets, and the second one is already open a crack. Now we settle the headline. Who actually wins, and why? The fair rules are a neutral 2-story house on a cool October night, with no police en route, 1 target in motion, and both killers approaching solo through the neighborhood. We grade on 3 pillars: approach, breach, and control. Approach. Michael's daylight stalking and ability to appear inside a frame without calling first is an advantage when silence is safety and the victim is not expecting a prank. Ghostface's phone lure is an advantage when the target answers calls, narrates their route, and opens doors while talking. If the victim is private, Michael enters their orbit easier. If the victim is social, Ghostface writes the path for them, slight edge to Michael for not needing the target to engage. Breach. Doors, windows, and closets decide the first 30 seconds. Michael destroys fragile doors with direct force and owns any staircase by simply standing where you must pass. Ghostface uses speed, feints, and surprise from behind doors. If the house is sturdy, Michael breaks it slower but surer. If the house is loose with angles, Ghostface slips through like a draft. Edge to Ghostface for improvisation in messy layouts, edge to Michael for control in clean ones. Control. Once contact happens, panic decides pace. Ghostface rushes and swarms with energy that overwhelms on stairs and in kitchens. Michael drains energy by walking victims into the corner they gave themselves. In a straight sprint across a yard, Ghostface tags first. In a chase that outlasts the first burst, Michael arrives without breathing hard. Control edge to Michael because he does not need a script to make fear misplay itself. Pattern, interrupt. If that is true, then cameras and eyes change everything. Put a camera on the porch, and Ghostface is less likely to grandstand in the lens, but he will still use the call to move you away from it. Put a camera anywhere and Michael will face it like a statue, which unnerves faster than a sprint. Cameras help police later, but they do not save a solo person in the moment. Ethics line. Do not glamorize harm. Focus on craft, logic, and psychology. Final read. In a quiet block with a wary target, Michael Myers wins more often because he needs nothing from the victim beyond a house and a mistake. In a loud block with a social target, Ghostface wins more often because he can push the victim into choices that expose them, and he can be multiple people across an evening. The tiebreaker is fatigue. Michael never seems to feel it, while Ghostface wears it on the costume after a tumble. Impact for viewers. The method that beats both is structure. Lock far doors early, keep sightlines straight, treat every call as a trap until verified by a face you already trust. Say where you are to someone outside the house while you are still calm. Move before the pumpkin hour says yes to masks. Verdict. Michael kills smarter when silence rules, and Ghostface kills smarter when conversation rules. The street decides the winner, and the person who sets the tone of the night usually walks away.